All right, so we are working again on this little Honda 1976 CVCC Civic. Doesn't say CVCC on it anywheres, but this is definitely a CVCC engine or powered Civic. It's roughly 1,483 or 90 cc's, I'm not sure. It's less than 1,500. It is a neat little car. It came in with a bunch of problems, and it's taken me a while to fix it. But I want to show you where we're at. We're actually at a running and driving stage. It still needs some fine tuning. Oh yeah, it says CVCC right there on the valve cover, as you can plainly see, and that is the correct engine for this car. And how that CVC system works, let me just go into it a little bit. There is a set of auxiliary valves here, right? Well, it's not on the exhaust side. The intake and the exhaust are on the same side, and the manifold actually bolts together. In other words, the exhaust manifold heats the intake manifold to pre-warm the carburetor. The exhaust manifold has a bunch of baffles in it, I guess you might say, to help divert the air. It's all trying to create a catalytic converter without a catalytic converter, is from what I can tell. But originally, when this car was new from the factory, it had a 3-barrel carburetor. The small primary pilot barrel, they call it, which is in the very front, has its own little induction tube which goes in the intake manifold. It runs through this little side channel and splits off in under these ports here. It runs across the cylinder head and into the spark plug area, where it feeds the spark plug a super rich mixture as a pre-chamber before it gets into the combustion chamber. So that's what the CVCC stands for. Complex Vortex Combustion Chamber, something like that. But that's how it works. There's an actual pilot barrel that feeds its own fuel through its own little fuel system and goes into those little valves, which basically feeds the engine a little extra rich fuel right near the spark plug to help light off the mixture so the rest of the mixture can be lean. That's what I understand. Anyhow, finding parts for this thing was difficult. The head gasket took me about a month to find, and I had an issue with the water pump just recently. It took another month to find. So it's not that my labor wasn't on par, it's trying to find parts. Let me show you a couple things. This is our head gasket here that I took off the car. You can see it's super crispy and delaminating between the steam ports and the combustion chamber. So it was burning water on this cylinder, cylinder number 4, pretty badly, to the point where it actually plugged the CVC hole where the spark plug is. All the steam holes were pretty plugged. I went and took a dental pick and cleaned them out, had the head surfaced, and then had the back side of the head, in other words the vertical side of the head, where the intake manifold goes through these 4 holes, and the exhaust manifold is Siamese. In other words, 2 cylinders go through this hole and 2 cylinders go through this hole, and you can see what happened. It just burnt the heck out of it. So I had to resurface the vertical side of the head as well as the exhaust manifold and the intake manifold to make everything seal. And I was a little worried that wouldn't happen because it was so bad and had been leaking for so long. Anyhow, it's nice and quiet now. And this is the water pump. There's a couple different variables with the pulley size. They physically bolt up, but I went through like 5 water pumps trying to find a water pump for this car, and that's why it took so long. So sorry for me yabbing, but I wanted to show you with these props here what I went through to get this thing going. So now that the thing is going, we got the Weber DGV 2-barrel 3236 on there. A lot of people told me that carburetor won't work, but there is a provision for the CVC system. In the adapters here, there is a port that feeds that little chamber that then goes into and splits open into a manifold that goes across the head and feeds that CV, and it seems to work just fine. So we built a throttle bracket for it. You can see there, it's nice. We got a new distributor cap, we got a new water pump, we got a new timing belt, we got a new head gasket, all new spark plugs, flushed out all the bad oil. Now I'm sussing out an overheating issue with the fan, the electric fan not coming on. But let's turn it on for you. That's what everybody wants to see. Doesn't have a tack. It's got a cool old dash. See the wood grain there? CVCC. That means it's high end. And if you look closely at the gauges there, they very much resemble a motorcycle from the 70s. So Horn works. Let's make sure she's out of gear. It is a 4-speed. It is not a 5-speed. And we'll turn the key. It should be warmed up. I've been kind of playing around with it here for a bit. Fires right up. Let's get out there. Nice, smooth assistant exhaust here. Kind of got a nice putt, but it's solid. You can hear all 4 cylinders popping. Oh, and I put a new motor mount right there on that dog bone. That was completely broken out. New thermostat, new hoses. She's ready to go. Very responsive. Just idles like a sewing machine. All right, I think we should take this thing for a drive. So let me get the hood down, the gate open, and we'll take this little Honda CVCC for a drive. I think you guys would like that. All right, so we've got a little 76 Honda CVCC Civic here, all warmed up and ready to go for a test drive. I forgot to mention that while the car was here in my possession, both the rear tires developed issues. They just split. They were really old. They were like 30 years old. So I had to put brand new tires on the rear, 0 miles. Also, had to put some gas in the gas tank because I forgot when this car came in, the fuel was rotten. It was just rancid. So I drained the tank, cleaned the tank, and then just realized that the gauge does work and it was reading empty. So now it's reading a little more than empty, but enough that we can make it around the block. So again, we are in the cockpit of this pretty cool little 1976 Honda CVCC with a sports steering wheel. All these old-fashioned, very cool Honda type controls. We have wood grain dash. We have a 4-speed transmission. Somebody has taken the radio, but we do have our basic heater controls, which I haven't tried, but just a cool old car. Just looking at all these little switch gears and knobs brings back a lot of memories for me. So let's just go for a quick little ride around the block. I don't have the electric fan hooked up, so I want to drive this thing before it gets hot. Although, speaking of hot, it's not hot today. I want to make sure there's no cars coming. We're just going to go for a quick jaunt around the block. Wow, this thing is zippy. Barely giving any gas at all. Holy, oh, watch out for that truck. I'm just going to turn around here. You got to be careful that you gas your customer's car in front of a big truck like that. You might be in for it. Okay, let's get on the open road. Yeah, this thing's got some zip. I don't know if you guys can hear that carburetor. Holy cow! This thing rips. For 1400 cc's, that thing just goes. That's neat. We haven't put our seatbelt on, so the seatbelt light just popped on. Turn here. Oh, of course. The truck just pulled into where I want to turn around. I'm going to do a UE. A lot of trucks around here. Let's let a car go by. There we go. I think our turn signals cancel very well. There we go. First gear. We're in second gear now. And man, this thing just wants to go. It is a peppy little machine. Peppy Le Pew. Okay, we're going to shift down to first gear because we've almost come to a stop. Give her the beans here. Amazing. Tried to spin the tires. First gear, drive. Oh my gosh. It's got torque steer. Unbelievable. What a fun little car. I would have never thought this would be that much fun. I thought the CVC system was sort of a buzzkill with the emissions, but looking at that exhaust manifold and how it's routed, it just didn't seem like it was high flowing at all. Stella's welcoming us back. Yeah, I'm really happy. This car came out great. So next thing is to get the the temperature under control. I may have to put on some type of aftermarket fan control. After talking with the customer, he's been having a lot of problems with it. And I think that's why the head gasket blew. Park it back in our little area here. Yeah, this thing just has an amazing intake noise. Let me show you that. Just putting away there, singing like a sewing machine. That's a sweet little Honda, I tell you. That thing just sounds awesome. It sounds like a sport bike when you really mash the throttle. That's pretty neat. All right, thanks for coming along on a ride in this little 1976 Honda CVCC. The customer's going to be so happy. This car has never run so good. This goes to show you what a little fixing up and reading the book will do. Putting things back together the way they should be. All right, thanks for watching.